He is a wonderful historian for the comic industry. He has massive passion. We also know that he is a little thin-skinned. When he is attacked and he does bleed, he definitely lashes back out really, really harsh.
And one of the cool things about Rob Liefeld is he really doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care what Marvel do to him. He can't get blacklisted. Even if they did, it wouldn't really affect him because they still have to pay him. So he's one of the few creators out there that is really willing to speak his mind, which makes him an invaluable resource in the comic book industry, because most people are silenced because there are so few options to actually go out there and make a lot of money, unless you want to just go out and do it yourself in crowdfunding and then have everyone call you a comics gator or something stupid like that.
That was almost 35 years ago that was the last time they could really do anything to Rob.
Liefeld doesn't mince words about Marvel's treatment of its creators, bluntly declaring, "We are treated like shit." He likens comic creators to literary powerhouses like George R.R. Martin and Stephen King, emphasizing their critical role. "Try to make stuff without us and see what happens," he said. This exposes a glaring issue. Marvel reaps billions from characters like Deadpool and Cable while sidelining the talent behind them, revealing a toxic corporate culture that prioritizes IP over human ingenuity. And Rob Liefeld's been going through this for not just like a couple of years. These are decades-long issues that he's had with Marvel Comics. And I don't think it just so happens that as soon as people like Rob Liefeld, your Todd McFarlane's, your Jim Lee's walk away and feel alienated with Marvel Comics, try to go their own way, and Marvel can't create new characters anymore that anyone cares about.
They have not created something new, something that people are really hyped about or want to buy and support in well over 20, if not closer to 30 years, because they've stopped rewarding the creative.
Yeah, and you look at guys like a George R.R. Martin or a Stephen King. What happens when they go and they take their source material, their creations, and they decide to make one a TV show or a movie or something? Executive producer credit. They always get input on the final product that's going out there. They actually are respected by the studios that are adapting their material. But creators like Rob Liefeld never, ever get that kind of input unless it's like a Mark Miller doing his own stuff that he created outside of Marvel. And I think that's one of the real enormous reasons that good comic book creators aren't incentivized to do anything for Marvel or DC these days.
However, the film industry recognizes the importance of those writers and make sure that they don't go out of their way to alienate them. The comics industry, for whatever reason, even understanding that, yeah, it's more collaborative than novel writing, goes wildly out of their way to alienate the people that have created the source material. I don't know if it's editors at publishers that are somehow poisoning the well to be like, no, all this is my idea, because that's how they're publishing comics these days, where the creatives basically just execute a vision of whatever an editor has, and they assume that that's the way it's always been or what, but they're not crediting these people. And as a result, they're feeling very, very snubbed for very good fucking reason.
And Liefeld has made it very clear. This isn't so much about him anymore. It's about the next generation, because Liefeld's rage isn't just personal. He's fighting for that next wave of talent. He calls out Marvel's dismissive attitude as a barrier that crushes aspiring artists and writers, denying them the respect and opportunities they deserve. His advocacy for new creators is a powerful stand against an industry that often exploits its creative core, demanding change to ensure fresh voices can thrive without facing the same neglect he endured. This makes his critique a rallying cry for systemic reform, because Marvel and DC right now need new waves of creators, new talent to come in and do something that's really going to blow people's minds. We haven't had a real revolution in comic books in like 20 years. We're long overdue for that next wave of creators to come in, but there is this enormous barrier because people can see what's happened to a Rob Liefeld. People can see what's happened to a Jim Starlin. People can see what's happened to these creators that created the foundational elements for billion-dollar movies and stuff like that, and they never get the credit. And I think a lot of them, if they're very talented, are just going straight to video games. They're going straight to animation. They're going straight to novels, and they're bypassing the comic book industry altogether, even if they love the characters.
He's always been trying to find next level younger creators to pass the torch to. I mean,
when you look at his Extreme Studios, while it wasn't managed well from a business perspective, I think even Rob would probably agree with that today. He had a very good eye for new talent, and he gave a lot of awesome creators their first break in comic books.
He has a massive creative tree that has grown from working with him, that has, spread across all sides of comics. You have people that are in video games, you have people that are in comics, you have people that are in the film industry, that are in animation, that are in corporate comics, doing indie comics, in Comicsgate. You have all these people from all different areas of the comic industry that come from him, because he's always looking out to create new opportunities, not only for himself, because he gets the benefit from this, but also for everyone that's coming up behind him, because he recognizes he got to keep the soil fresh behind him. The comics industry doesn't seem even remotely interested in doing that. In fact, they seem so reluctant to do so that they're basically salting the earth half the time.
And Marvel and DC really should be listening to Liefeld. While there are a lot of people doing a lot of things, you will find few people willing to talk about the comic book industry with the amount of zeal and appreciation and love for the comic book industry itself. He doesn't want the comic book industry to go, in his rear view. He wants to be a part of making it better today. And for some reason, people don't realize that he might be the biggest champion we have right now.
While Tom Brevoort seems to be over there at Marvel attempting to manage the death of comics through a managed decline, Rob's sitting there going, this motherfucker doesn't have to die. It's perfectly fine. Just stop starving it to death. He is probably the biggest evangelist for the comic industry that they have, and they don't like it because he's not the right messenger for whatever reason. Maybe because he left them high and dry, maybe because he is a advocate for creatives' rights.
And what's interesting, he's not just leveling all these accusations or cleaning out his cloth about Marvel Comics. He's certainly going after Marvel Studio as well. Liefeld contrasts Marvel's approach with other studios, noting the other studios I work with now aren't as ignorant and willfully dismissive as Marvel is. This burns Marvel for lagging behind competitors who value creator collaboration. Such ignorance risks driving talent away, weakening Marvel's creative edge, as other players in film and comics set a higher standard for respect and partnership, saying, hey, I go out there and I work with other people that are making stuff based on my creations, and there I'm treated with respect. Why is it when I go to Marvel Studios, who probably have the most to gain for the stuff that he's created, because nothing's bigger that he's done than Cable and Deadpool, and yet he's always getting disrespect from them?
We're not going to honor you. We're not going to recognize you, because then we might have to recognize someone else down the line. And if we recognize them, maybe there's an argument that they could get, I don't know, an extra $5,000 out of us. And God damn it, we're not going to allow that. I feel like that's where the studio is. Even the most tacit acknowledgement of your contribution is something that they can't do. That's where their line is: protect our bottom line at all costs, even if it means ignoring all the people that got you that bottom line in the first place.
Well, the best position, I guess, to be in is Rob Liefeld, because his exit from Marvel has been a bold middle finger to their constraints. He reveals in his freedom, saying, I wake up every day thrilled to make whatever I want, though parting with creations like Deadpool and Cable stings. His joy in pursuing new projects reflects a growing creator trend, ditching corporate giants for independent platforms or studios that offer real control. This shift challenges Marvel's grip on the superhero genre, and it feels like every time they hold that grip tighter, more and more creators escape out through their fingers, and they're finding out that life on the other side is just better.
There's a number of creators that are just going straight indie now that would have been absolutely tied up at Marvel, getting paid very, very well. There is absolutely no reason why indie comic publishers should be able to compete for price, just page rate, with the big two, especially when it comes to royalties and residuals and everything like that. There is absolutely no way that should be the case. Yet that seems to be routinely the case. I don't know what Mark Millar's creative split is currently because of the Netflix thing, but I know before Netflix, it was like 50-50. The old Miller World stuff, it was 50-50. They just split it down the middle. You get that just working on, like, with another pro on an indie project that you want, and Marvel, what? They're going to maybe begrudgingly invite you to a red carpet, delete your photos, and overlook you for the after party? Seriously, what is the cost for including one more family to red carpet, keep the photos, and have them at the after party? Like $1,000? Holy fucking shit. At that point, it's just obvious pettiness. It's not a, well, I'm sorry, you just didn't make the cut, kid. It's a, we're intentionally excluding you. And the creative side is not much better. They are intentionally excluding them from the creative process, from the crediting process, and definitely from the financial process.
If you would like the entire conversation about Rob Liefeld excoriating Marvel Comics, you do need to go to Think Vertical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. Doc and I talk about that in full. No filters, no censors on that one because it has been edited down here for YouTube. And you'll also get our Wolverine 400 review. It's up right now. Hope to see you there very, very soon.